Gary, there's been no independent corroboration that there was anything fraudulent about this election. In fact, it's pretty clear that you lost to Katie Hobbs, your rival, 50.3% to 49.6%. And as with Donald Trump, when I said to him, where's the hard evidence? He went down all sorts of rabbit holes, but he couldn't produce hard evidence.
There's a ton of... Piers, there's a mountain of hard evidence, and when we presented it in our trial, the other side didn't even dispute the evidence. They didn't. They had
but not that the election result was fraudulent,
with zero chain of custody.
You just know the big lie election denial cabal of Trump and now Kari Lake is going bad when Piers Morgan attacks you. And he went after Kari Lake about as gentle as you can when you're calling someone a liar. Lake's claims are disputed by Morgan and basically everyone who isn't MAGA, because as Morgan says, where's the beef?
All I know is all the official fact-checking entities that have looked into all the claims do not conclude that you did anything other than lose that election.
Well, we can't continue to run elections this way, and we know that we won, and we're going to continue to fight this in a court of law. And it's really rich that you're sitting across the pond acting like you know what happened on Election Day. I did not see your smiling face. We had lots of international media here covering Election Day in Arizona. Yours is one face I didn't see, and nor did I see it.
You could have had my smiling face, Kari, if you'd asked me nicely.
Arizonans...
Piers Morgan has been an outspoken supporter of Trump as a friend for 30 years, but here he finally seems to shed that allegiance, alliance, and friendship and do the job that as a member of the media he should have been doing all along.
In Arizona, I can't walk 10 feet without an Arizonan saying, I voted for you, everybody I know voted for you, our ballot was rejected on Election Day, please keep fighting for us.
That's not evidence, and Morgan, you and me, and everyone with an IQ over 50 knows the truth.
I'm fighting for the people of Arizona.
Listen,
I truly am.
No offense taken whatsoever.
And let me ask you this, Piers. Let me ask you a question. Do you think it's right that you show up on Election Day? That's the big day. On Election Day, and 60% of the voting locations in the primarily Republican locations have ballots that are printed out wrong.
Listen, Kari, all I know,
machines that are jamming, have 4-hour lines.
Kari,
is
all
that
I know,
okay?
albeit from my
is that okay?
All I know from my lofty place here in London, and I admit I wasn't in Arizona.
What's really happening here is Lake, Trump, and now basically every MAGA Republican is saying it, and they're saying it out loud. If I win, I win. If I lose, I was cheated.
And I don't mean any offense to you, but I frankly don't give a damn.
The MAGA deniers really don't care. Like every other cult, they only talk to each other. And they only care about the lie. I believe it was Goebbels who said, if you keep repeating a lie, it becomes the truth. But the question is, will friends of Trump pre-2016 finally let go of the Trump mystique and embrace the truth that this is a con, a grift of massive proportions on so many levels? It's an attack on our democracy, and it's totally counter to the conservative narrative. And at the end of the day, it's all about Trump. Even Lake believes that there's future with MAGA, but MAGA only exists in the ether of Trump's BS. Morgan tries to break through Lake's bull, her big lie narrative, but to no avail. The truth is, Morgan was way too polite. Again, when confronted with the evidence, Lake does what Trump has always done, lie about the facts.
I wasn't in Arizona. All I know is all the official fact-checking entities that have looked into all the claims do not conclude that you did anything other than lose that election.
Come on. Piers, did you just fall off the turnip truck? We know about the fact checkers, and we've seen them. This has all been revealed. Half of them are leftists working for Facebook. Let's be real.
Leftists from Facebook? This is a seminal moment in our nation's future, and it sounds like we're arguing with a kid whose hand is in the cookie jar and denies that he's taking cookies. Look, we counted the votes 12 times, with Republicans there. The legislature and the courts have backed up the results, and yet Lake and the MAGA crowd continue to deny the results. First it was the Bushes, although quietly. Then it was a few other brave Republicans like Cheney and Kinzinger.
Every president in our history has defended this orderly transfer of authority, except one. January 6th, 2021 was the first time one American president refused his constitutional duty to transfer power peacefully to the next. In our work over the last 18 months, the Select Committee has recognized our obligation to do everything we can to ensure this never happens again.
And now media types like Morgan, who are finally starting to stand up to the ridiculousness of this scenario. But Nikki Haley, who's running for president and denounced Trump on January the 6th, still tiptoes around the big lie by saying, well, there was fraud here and there. But that's BS, because there wasn't. It keeps on going, and it will keep on going until Republicans stand together and say, our system works great. We don't need voter ID or armed Trump militia in the streets intimidating voters.
Okay,
let me ask you one final point on that.
What do they know?
At
And what do they know
let me
about
ask you,
our
Kari,
election?
at what point would you accept that you've lost?
Well, do you think that we have a right to move this through the court system? I think we do. I know that we do. We have the right.
Well, you certainly have a legal right to do it. You've got a legal right to do it. But my point is, at what
yes,
point
indeed.
is there
and
any
the people
point
are
that
expecting me to.
You've got a right to do it? Is there any point where you would accept that you lost?
We are taking it to the Supreme Court. That's where we're taking.
The bottom line is sometimes you lose. You simply lose. And our nation was built on the idea of a peaceful transferal of power.
Win, lose, or draw in this election, will you commit here today for a peaceful transferal of power after the election?
Well, we're going to have to see what happens. You know that I've been complaining very strongly about the ballots, and the ballots are a disaster.
I understand that, but people are rioting. Do you commit to making sure that there's a peaceful transferal of power?
We want to get rid of the ballots, and we'll have a very peaceful. There won't be a transfer, frankly. There'll be a continuation.
But now we stand on the precipice of disaster of epic proportions. The Republican Party has a disease of cowardice, unable to admit their shortcomings and deciding instead on shortcuts around the system that has traversed world wars and civil rights and depressions and recessions and acts of terror. How ironic if that very system, this strong system, collapsed because of this guy, a man whose weaknesses became a virus that infected our nation and could have easily been stopped if Republicans had spoken up sooner.
Well, we can't continue to run elections this way, and we know that we won, and we're going to continue to fight this in a court of law.
Okay, that's a valid point, but not for the reasons Lake intended. The next 18 months will require every Trump apologist, from Piers Morgan to George W. Bush, from Fox News to Chuck Grassley, to stand up and speak truth to insanity. But remember, while this is happening, Republican state legislatures are gerrymandering and making plans to avert an electoral loss by assigning a second set of electors to vote Republican despite the popular vote. That's all happening.
It's okay that you are not comfortable with me fighting this election and fighting for election integrity.
No,
it's
I don't
okay.
mind you.
I can live with myself knowing that
Kari,
Piers Morgan.
let me clarify. I don't mind your fighting spirit. I don't mind it in Donald Trump. I've known him a long time.
I have every right to fight this election.
Absolutely,
this is an election
right.
contest.
But
We're
there
in the
does come a
appellate
point,
court,
both
and
for
I'm
you
doing this for the people
understand,
of
but Kari,
Arizona.
there does come a point when, for the future of democracy, you and Donald Trump have to accept at some point you lost an election.
And the last question has to be, how will these men and women interpret this attack on our democracy? A lie is a lie, and the truth will eventually rule the day. And how long till that day arrives is still in our hands, for now. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe and follow us on YouTube at Really American.